Huh? Hey, I'm tryna win. I'm tryna win in the 716 and I'm making it big. I wanna live. I think I'm ready.
Yo, what's good, man? It's the Easy Pinch Out Podcast with your one and only host, Glory Boy, back here with another special guest.
Yep. It's your boy, Jon Cesar, the one and only. Anybody tell you anything different, they the phony.
They're the phony. Yeah, right. So let me tell you a little bit about Mr. Jon Cesar here. He's an American comedian, actor, radio co-host for Griot Nation radio show, and also he's dedicated to cultural arts, activism, community development, and so on. And also, Mr. Jon has hosted 15 years of comedy shows for big names, big name artists like Hannibal Buress, Ralphie May Donnelly Rawlings, Mike Epps,
Bernie Mac,
Dave Chappelle,
Tracy Morgan, Ronaldo Ray. Like, we
can go on and on.
We can go on and on. Like, I've been.
But I appreciate you for coming through, though.
Yo, thank you for having me. Yo, I don't do a lot of podcast shows. I don't do a lot of podcast shows.
Right.
Number one is because nobody really knows who I am, so that's why I don't do a lot of podcast shows. And I know a lot of people that do podcast shows, but they never invite me on. I think it's because they're scared that I'm going to tell the truth, right? Because I just can't be up here. You know what I mean? I always got something to promote and stuff. But when I met you and I seen you, well, first of all, reason why I don't do a lot of podcast shows, a lot of people want me to do my own podcast show, right? Okay. You know what I mean? And so that's what they'll try to do. They'll try to get me to come be on their podcast show so that I would start a podcast shows, but I try to tell them, like, look, you gotta learn your business, because you're gonna be mad at me because I'll be the only one that getting paid at the podcast show because I'm in the union, right? I'm gonna take advantage of that, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I said. But I said, you're young, you're coming up, you're doing this by yourself.
Hey, man, for 2 years and a half, man, be holding it down.
2 years?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Well, that's
2
cool.
years.
Well, I hope you keep it going, and anything I can do to help you out. And like I said, I want to thank you because, like I said, I don't do this a lot, and I should, but and like I'm here to tell the truth today. Like you can ask me anything you want about anything, about my mama. You know what I mean? I'm talking about.
We're gonna get straight to everything for sure. So now let's start off with your background though. Like where you from? Where were you born and so on?
All right. So born and raised in Buffalo, New York. Went to school here, performing arts. Started off at School 66 in North Buffalo. I was the first black Pinocchio. At this time, I did not. I was a class clown, right? So at this time in grammar school, I did not know. I was too short to play basketball, and I was too lazy to play football. Right, so you either have to have a wicked jump shot or you got to make the girls laugh, right? And so I was good at just ribbing, talking about people. I used to talk about people's shoes and their shirts, and you know what I mean. Rest in peace, my boy Dirty Nate. Dirty Nate was he was an MC here in Buffalo, but he was back when we were younger. He was my competition. He was from Bailey. I was from Central Park, and so I used to hold it down at the back of the bus, ribbing on people. I was like, back then that was like the comedian, but we didn't know what we were. Right. You know, we weren't.
You can't do that today.
You
can't do that today. Like you can't be roasting people today. It's
at the back of the bus.
You would get in trouble.
They're probably too sensitive now. But back then they weren't sensitive. People, you could talk about somebody's cross-eyed mama that just passed away. That got hit by a bus, right? You know what I mean? Your grandmother that slipped on a banana peel and her wig fell off.
So there was a lot of mama jokes, papa jokes.
Just whatever. Like I would just rib on whatever you had on, your sneakers, right? You know what I mean? Your I would just your shirt, your wrinkled shirt, your crooked mustache. I would just look at you and make stuff up about your eyebrow being cut, looking like Captain.
Hey, you coming at me?
Looking like Captain Kirk.
Hey, you coming at me now?
If Captain Kirk and Spock had a baby.
Yeah, you coming at me now?
I'm just saying, but that's how we used to do it. So, I used to do that. And then I got into acting that way. I got into acting because that's where all the girls, and like I said, back in school, nobody ever told me that you had to know how to read to be an actor. You know, I didn't know that. I thought you just, I just watched TV. I just thought, you know what I mean? But you had to know how to read. And so back then, school wasn't, I mean, Christopher Columbus coming to America, we coming over as slaves and roots. And so to me, that I didn't identify with that. I just, you know what I mean? When they was trying to teach us that stuff in history and stuff like that, I was just like, oh, this is bullshit. We just can't come over here as slaves and that's Kunta Kinte and you know what I'm saying? I was like, that can't, we gotta be, you know what I mean? So they didn't, they never taught us about Malcolm X and, we had to learn that, later on. So so as far as school, I wasn't interested in school because of the stuff that they were trying to push, down our throats. And so I was interested in females, the girls. I wasn't in the girls, and girls was like, they were in chorus, they were doing plays, they were in home ec, you know what I mean? So right. So I just went where the girls was at. I was going with the girls, you know what I mean? So, I was good at making people laugh and, you know what I mean? I was, I probably wasn't, I think I was.
So you was the ladies' man.
I mean, I had to, because, bro, women love to laugh, man.
So what is it about women laughing, though? Like, you say you made women laugh and they wanted to be around you.
Yeah, they was just attracted to that. I don't know what it is. Something about a man that can make you laugh and just make you feel good and smile and make you forget about all your bad feelings and stuff like that. Like,
right.
Just I don't I'm not a woman, so I can't understand why they attracted to that. Am I attracted to a woman that'll make me laugh all the time? Probably so. I don't know. I mean, you know what I mean. But I'm
right. You need someone with a good sense of humor around you. You know exactly what you're saying.
With me, well, I mean, I'm a comedian, so it's different. Like, I don't need to be bad. We don't need to be battling. We don't need to be waking up like, hey, your feet stank. You know what I'm saying? We don't, unless we writing together. Right. But no, I don't and I think that was a problem with my wife, my Canadian wife, is because she thought, when we got married, well, first of all, she thought I was Tracy Morgan. When she thought I was Tracy Morgan. I was like, I ain't Tracy Morgan, but I'll get you pregnant. You know what I mean? But she just thought, me being a comedian, that it was gonna be jokes all the time and be joking all the time because
she wasn't taking you that serious. She just
yeah, she wasn't, and that was part of my fault too, right? Because like I said, I kind of jumped ahead of the story, but I have to go back to grammar school and how I started acting when I said I was the first black Pinocchio. That was the reason why I got into acting, is because I was following the girls, and then one day we were doing a play. And see, if you were doing plays and stuff, you didn't have to go to school. You didn't have to be in class. Really? Nah, you just go to lunch. You go to homeroom, and then you go straight to. You probably go to homeroom and then study hall, and then you doing your play thing, right?
Oh, so you're not doing no math, science.
Well,
and all that.
I guess you were supposed to, but I would like skip them classes and just go straight.
So how did that play out, like at home too? Like, because I know you mentioned that you wasn't really feeling school like that.
Yeah, I wasn't.
How about your parents? Like, how were they feeling like towards that? Like,
well, all right. So I was, my mom was my mom and my dad, and so. I ain't tell her a lot of shit, right? You know what I mean? What she don't need to know don't hurt her. Right. She knew the stuff that they was calling her in for about me, stealing and stealing the teacher's book. One year, I knew I was gonna fail. I knew I was gonna fail this year, and I knew a couple of my friends were gonna fail, and so I said I stole the grade book. The teacher puts the grades in the book. Because I'm stupid. I'm thinking if I take the book, we can't get no report cards. I ain't know this bitch had a second book. Because back in the day, they used to keep your grades in a book, not on the computer. We didn't have computers. We had those little black, those black books.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So she had a backup, in it. So no, my mother was more like. She was hard on me on other things, but not school, right? She would, because they would tell her, like, see, my mother was like, I can beat his ass, but you can't touch him. You know what I mean? I can cuss him out, but you can't cuss him.
But that's different, because back then, teachers will whoop your butt.
Like I went to school where you get paddled. They would hit you. Right. I went to school in Atlanta. That was a law. They can hit you with the paddle, and my mother freaked out and told me to move back to Buffalo because, I told her they was down here, but I was bad, though. I needed I needed, you know what I'm saying? I know why they made, they was packed because of kids like me.
So good thing you just mentioned that, because there's a lot of kids that's actually bad today, and they, like in school, the class, not even class clowns, like they just interrupting class at all, like they don't want to pay attention, disrespecting teachers and so on.
It's trauma, man.
What would you say about those kids though?
It's trauma. They have trauma. We all, like, just being black in this country is trauma already. Just being raised by a single parent is trauma. You never know who was touching them or who they seen somebody touching them or something. You never know what a child is going through. I think all these kids are like acting out, right? I mean, they're acting out. And number one, I mean, if you were raised by a kid, then how can you not be a kid, right?
That's what I've been saying, man. A lot of people nowadays, it's kids having kids. You just made a great point right there. It's like, if you're raised by a kid, how can you not be a kid?
How can you not be a kid?
They're not going to be there 24. Because I think also it plays a part with in age, we build a lot of wisdom on either how to lead, how to we know what's right and wrong. At a certain age as we grow up.
It just don't hit you automatic. It's got to be in front of you.
Got to be in front of you, right?
Yeah, it just don't. You don't all of a sudden just come. Oh, you know what? I need to start washing my ass now because these girls like me. No, I mean, you gotta see your uncle. Oh, what is he in the shower? What is he spraying on him? That's why he got all the girls. You know what I'm saying? He washes his balls, right? You know what I mean? That's why he got all the girls like that. So you gotta see that. You don't just fucking wake up one day and be like, man, my feet stink. I know why Tammy don't want to spend the night. You know what I'm saying? So it's gotta, you gotta see it. It's gotta be a part of your culture.
Right, definitely. So now let's move on to, you was in school, you didn't like school at all or anything, and the only thing that you wanted to do was going to plays, and the plays you were just following girls, and
I was just following girls.
You was making them laugh.
It wasn't even that I wanted to go into plays. I just wanted to go where I was acknowledged and where I was recognized, where people, like people wanted me around just to make them feel good, right? Like I'm saying, don't know what a comedian is at this time. I don't know what an actor is at this time. This is grammar school. This is 6th grade, right? This is 5th, 6th grade. Right, almost going into 8th grade, right? So I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. All I know is that these pretty white girls with braces and long, are beautiful. The sisters look good too, but I knew them all. They was like family. But these are white women with blue eyes, and they smelled good. I was 6th grade, right, bro? I was 6th grade. They was busting us in, like Italian. These are Italian women, right? You know what I mean? So I didn't know what. So I was just following the girls. I got into this play Pinocchio, and my part I played darkness. I had one. I was supposed to come out, and they said, and darkness came in, and then I just came out on the stage.
That's what you did.
That's what I did. That was it. And that's all I wanted.
Did you say anything?
I didn't say nothing. I didn't say nothing. I just came out as darkness and just walked around.
But you mentioned that, but like back in the days, you didn't feel some type of way because like you was like a black student.
I did it. Now when I grew up, I was like, yo, that was racist as fuck, bro. Then they had me. I understudied. You know what an understudy is, right?
Yeah.
I understudied a tree. I was just a tree, and then the tree just sway. That was but see, at the time I didn't care, bro. I was like, yo, this shit is I'm a movie star, nigga. I'm a tree.
Well, they was just
I was a tree back then. I was
darkness.
It was dark. The niggas was bitches was like, yo, darkness. I'm like, yo, what up?
Even white girls too.
White girls was like, yo, darkness. I'm like, yo, pay for my milk. You know what I'm saying? Pay for my lunch, yo.
Hey, nah, bro, nah. And then from being a comedian, so then moving up forward.
Okay.
You just started chasing your dream to become a comedian.
Well, I'll tell you what happened. To go with that story. So a teacher from Performing Arts High School seen me. So the Pinocchio play, the guy got sick. This is before COVID and all that, ever happened, chicken pox or whatever. But I didn't end up playing Darkness. I ended up playing the lead because the guy got sick and they were going to cancel the play. And this was around exam time. So if they would have canceled the play, we would have had to go right back to class and start studying for Regents exams.
Oh, Regents are worse, yeah.
And I was like, hell no. I said, yo, Mrs. Warner, I remember her name. I said, Mrs. Warner, we don't have to stop the play because I remember this before I started smoking weed and all that. I mean, I think it was about a couple of months before I started smoking weed in grammar school. I knew the whole play. I read it and I knew everybody's line because I played Darkness and a tree, right? So I had to, I read through the script. So and I remembered everything. So I said, Miss Warner, I know his part. And the lady looked at me, and like I said, I didn't know it was racist until she was like, I was like, yeah, I could play the part. And she was like, but Pinocchio's white. And I was like, yeah, he is white, isn't he? You know what I mean? So it was a challenge to me. In my mind, I was like, yeah, I'll be the first black Pinocchio. You know what I'm saying?
Isn't Pinocchio brown skin though? Like, if you
he's Italian. He's supposed to be Italian, but I'm saying back then when you were if you were black, if you were non-black, you were white. Everybody was white. We didn't know.
If you're a light skinned dude, he was white.
He was light and bright, almost white. If he was light skinned, if your daddy was black and your mama was white, he was light skinned, right?
Right.
But I'm talking about if you were actually, Pinocchio is a fictional story. It ain't a real story. It ain't a real story. So you know what I mean? He I don't know what the fuck color he was, but if you could Google this shit, I was the first black. Ain't nobody ever played Pinocchio.
Wow.
And Denzel ain't even played Pinocchio. He did Othello, but this Pinocchio. So after I did Pinocchio, I crushed it. Remember the lines and everything. There was a teacher from performing arts, music teacher from performing arts that was in the audience. And so she told my moms that I should to audition for performing arts, right? And so in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, more plays, more girls, right? I'm not connecting the acting part. Right. I'm not connecting the part where you got to read and know how to read. And at this time, I wasn't a good reader. I was a first grade reader in like seventh grade. I was reading at a kindergarten level. C. James Spot run. That shit was boring to me. I'm like, why the fuck is he running? You know what I mean? Why is Jack and Jill went up the hill? The bitch gonna get pregnant. If she, so like I said, I felt like I was a slight dyslexic. I would see words. I don't know if it was the weed, but I would see words backwards and shit. And this is how I became a great improver, is because when I would get the scripts, I would read the scripts and I would be so nervous because people used to laugh at me when I would read, and I was so nervous. You remember when it was time for you to read?
Oh, when everybody just look at you. Yeah. Oh man. And you have those people that always want you to just mess up.
Right. And that was me. They was just like, yo, wait to see. Start reading.
Hey, because actually that's funny because me, I wasn't born here. So when I came here, I still was learning English more, you know. So I had a strong accent. I still have an accent right now.
Where you from?
I'm from Congo.
But
when I got here, right? So when I would read in class, oh man, everybody would just we had those ESL
here in
classes.
Buffalo?
Yeah, here in Buffalo.
I know they got you.
English as a second language.
I know they
class.
was like, give us free every time you said some shit.
What? What? It was so funny because there's certain words that I'll get to. I'm like, oh nah, and I would just be like, man,
sweating.
I don't know it.
Right.
Somebody read it.
Really? Yeah.
I would just be honest, man, I can't read this.
So I would be sweating, dude. I used to come out in highs when it was my time to read the shit, and I was so nervous reading that I kind of tricked myself to being dyslexic. I was just so nervous, and then because after a while it was funny. People would laugh. It was funny, but then when the teacher would fucking stand there and be like, okay, we'll read another paragraph. Damn, I can't fucking make these niggas laugh again. After a while, you know what I'm saying? After a while, it's not gonna be funny.
Right.
These motherfuckers yo, it's time to go to gym. and this motherfucker's still trying to read, right? You know what I'm saying? It's lunchtime,
right.
and this motherfucker, you trying to get this motherfucker to read 5 minutes before it's time to go to lunchtime? Hell no. So motherfuckers ain't like that shit, right? They was like, I was fucking up the program. But it's funny until they had something to do. But and so that's how I became a good improver, because I would look at the script real quick and I kind of would make things up as I'm reading it, right? I would add things to it.
I feel like that's even better for like a lot of actors. It's like I feel like just give a person a script and let them play it out their own way. I feel like,
well, it depends on what that is. Certain plays like August Wilson, you can't do that.
Oh yeah. I know.
There's no
even I don't even think Romeo and Juliet you can do that too. Like those plays,
like Shakespeare. Yeah. It's certain things that hood shit. Yeah, right. It's you know what I mean. So I wouldn't consider that really acting then. You know what I mean? If anybody can do it, if 50 Cent playing himself in Get Rich or Die Trying, and he gets an Oscar for it, that's bullshit, because that's not acting. He's playing himself. Right? You know what I mean? But when he lost weight and he looked like he had AIDS and stuff like that, yes, he should get, that's acting. You know what I mean? But because like it's a double-edged sword on that. A lot of people are quick and be like, oh yeah, I think that would be blah, 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 but everybody's not a comedic actor. You know what I mean? Everybody some actors hate it when you improv too much because they can't do it. It's not something that a lot of people can do as well. You're doing something that a lot of people can't do. And some directors will let you do it, and some directors, so you gotta be ready to do both. You gotta be able to improv, and you gotta be able to read what's on the paper and bring it to life. And you know what I mean? But that was my crutch. So I took something negative because I couldn't read that well, right? And it made it look like, oh my God, he's a genius. He's just making this shit up off of the top of his head. No, nigga, I can't read. I'm like Leroy on Fame. I can't read. You know what I mean? So, and then so you can only get away with that for so long. You can only get away with that for so long. So yeah, I started getting, I ended up getting into performing arts. I tried. It took me like 3-4 auditions to get in, and they told me why. You know what I mean? It wasn't that I couldn't act; it was my grades. They wanted me to get my grades to get up. To get up to par and stuff. So you know, this whole acting thing and comedy thing, and I fight with both of them because it's a left hand, right hand, right? I got comedy's my right hand, but I'm ambidextrous, so I can knock you out with my right hand, and I can knock you out with my left hand. I can knock you out with the comedy, or I can knock you out with the acting. You know what I mean? And just my good looks is like a third. No, I'm just playing. That would be good. Yeah, I mean, I do. I do look better. And people, and stop saying I look like Tracy Morgan, because that's not a compliment to me. You know what I'm saying? People be like, yo, I told when I met Tracy Morgan, I met him, and I was like, yo, people say I look like you, because I took myself as like I still didn't know anything about. I like comedy and and this is before Eddie Murphy came out with Raw and all this and that, right? So I didn't have all that. I'm in the basement listening to Richard Pryor records and Red Fox records, Bill Cosby. I'm listening to records, but still not. It's just it's something new, right? I'm not saying, oh, this is what I want to do. This is. You know what I mean? I didn't see myself in that. Because it was something brand new. It was just hip. Like when hip hop first came out, did you start break dancing and spray painting and no, you listened to it and you became a consumer of it. So that's what I did with the comedy. I became a consumer, Cheech and Chong. I like, you know what I mean?
So how about if we take a look? So after high school, did you go to college and pursue like acting and continue doing your comedy and so on, or did you go straight into like the comedy world? Did you move out of Buffalo, went somewhere like LA, ATL, and so on? Okay, so while I'm in high school, I'm doing TV shows, local TV shows, Halloween specials, plays, and some of these plays are with
famous people now that are Jesse L. Martin. He's on Flash, and he was in Rent, and he's from Buffalo, New York. Lamont Johnson, right? So I'm at a school where the future celebrities are going to be there, right? You know what I mean? And so, but still, like I said, bro, it was more like it went so fast. It wasn't like. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, yo, I'm going to the school and I want to, you know, be this and that. I still didn't. It didn't really hit me. It didn't really hit me until I got my first TV show, Halloween special. Okay. Because people would come up to me, they'd see me in the supermarket and stuff like that. That's when it started hitting me like, yo, I can be famous. I can, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, girls was coming up to me and stuff. So yeah, I was just, and see, back then, when I went to school, if you were a male in a theater school, and you were in theater, then you were considered gay. You were homosexual. Yeah. I had to lie. I had to actually, Claudine Hewing, she works at the News. She was in school with us, and I lied and told people I was in communications. I took communications instead of theater.
That's crazy. I did communication studies too.
Yeah. But I was a theater major. Okay. And communications was like my minor in high school. Not really, but I just used to lie and say I was in communications. I made it a minor. Who the fuck has a minor in high school? They don't have minors in high school. So, yeah, you were considered to be gay until my man Roosevelt Titwell showed up, and he's another actor that came. So that's when I was like, oh, okay, because like I said, it was a homosexual thing.